Hello everybody, welcome back to another Mortal Jellyfish video. Today we're taking a look into the Spirit Catcher. Now yes, in a previous video I asked you if you guys think I should buy ranks. I think it was pretty mixed from what I read. A lot of people were like, no, don't do it. A decent bit of people were like, yeah. And then after some deep thinking about it and talking with some family members of mine, I think it was worth the money spent to give better content on here on YouTube. So yeah, essentially kind of an investment for the YouTube channel, you know? Put a little money in, get a little better content for the viewers. So yeah, I do have Spirit Catcher, and that's obviously what today's video is about. If you haven't noticed by the thumbnail and the old title, whatever that thing's called. Yep, you'd be surprised that I do YouTube this much. Anyways, I do make Bed Wars content almost daily, so if you do want to see that latest Bed Wars content, make sure to like and subscribe. On that note, we are going to hop into some gameplay here of the Spirit Catcher, and of course we're going to start off with our pros, then we'll weigh that out with the cons, and then at the end I will give you guys my opinion on whether you should grind for this kit or not. It's very far up the battle pass. Rank 45 is no joke. That's a very, very long grind, as the battle pass goes very slow. That said though, there is a little testing portion I do want to get into before we get into the pros and cons, so we're going to go over to testing right now. I dare you to walk across.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Okay, so as we hop into testing here, we just kind of threw two spirits at him. Obviously, this is no armor protection at all. So that was no armor is 25, leather's 18. Then we hop right in here to the iron armor, and you see it does about 10 damage per each one. And then we gotta get into the diamond armor, and diamond armor is gonna do 7, and then he's gonna swap over to emerald, and you're gonna see we do 4? I think it was 4. Yeah, we do 4 damage. Now, I did do all the testing with all armor prots and everything else, but I decided I was just going to include the sharpness 2. So with sharpness 2, it does 33 to no armor. I didn't want to keep you guys in testing all day, so we just use sharpness 2 in this version. So that's 24 with sharpness. Previously, it was 18. So sharpness definitely does buff with these, and it's actually pretty decent with sharpness. In the iron, we're doing 13, and previously that was 10. And then it does 10 to diamond as well. So basically, if you have double sharpness, it's going to be equivalent to them having no armor protection. Now obviously if they have armor protection, it's going to make these weaker as well, so keep that in mind. On that, let's hop over into the pros and cons. Okay, the gameplay is rolling as usual. Now while you watch this gameplay, we're gonna hop into the pros here first. So yeah, we're gonna hop into the pros, and then I'll get into the cons after that. So yeah, right off, first pro is the spirits have a good knockback. You know, they're not too shabby. They're not the strongest knockback. I think a baguette and stuff is still a bit better, but that requires you to be up there. These spirits you can kind of throw from a range, and then they'll go hunt people down and knock them off. So yeah, the knockback's pretty good. I think that's a good solid first pro. The second pro is these can hit people through walls, and I don't mean the explosion itself. I mean that, like, so for instance on Ships Ahoy, which is I think the map we're on in this video, you could throw it at the boat walls or something, and or like on the roof or somewhere else, and it will just glide through the walls and then go blow up on them on the inside. So, and that brings us into our third con, which is these are a tracking explosive, which means you basically can't miss them. The only sort of way you can miss with these is if you throw them, and then they're like not close enough, so then they do their defensive position. They just kind of sit there, and they wait for somebody to get close enough to them for them to go attack and blow up. That said, yeah, they can't miss. You basically have an auto-aim explosive with a knockback. It does just, in a sense, have limited range as far as you can throw it, basically. And then, of course, wherever it lands, it has a little bit of range where it wants to go hunt people. And that's going to bring us into our fourth pro. And the fourth pro is that it has decent damage. Now, I did put in some marks here that it's only decent against low armor. Now, as you guys saw in the testing right before all this, I think we can all agree that once people get armor, a spirit for 35 iron is probably not worth it. I mean, hitting somebody for like 10 to 4 damage, I think it was with emerald. I don't know if that's worth 35 emerald, well, 35 iron. Maybe later game, if you were spamming them real heavily, they might be worth it. But to be honest, you could spam someone with a ton of these, and it's not going to make a big difference later game. Earlier game though, I'd say yeah, you could get a hit with one of these and then go in and beat them in a fight or something, or you know, just use them to straight up just kill the person if you have enough of them. That said, we're going to move into our 5th pro, and that is make spirit friends you can talk to. Hello everybody, how's everybody doing? Oh nice, yeah, me too. I've been pretty well off myself. Yeah, so Paul, what you been up to? You're always so funny, Paul. Okay, yeah. Well, we best get going. Seriously though, like, spirits are pretty good friends. I would, I mean, maybe they're not. Probably shouldn't talk to spirits. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Go ahead and take that pro away. Anyways, into the cons now though. We do got a few that kind of pair together, so we're gonna kind of ramble them off, try and keep count to when I say we're moving into the next con or not, because it might get a little mixed up and we might lose count in here. But anyways, the first con I have right on the top of my list is the spirits cost too much iron, in my opinion. Now this could be very debatable with anybody because we have an explosive that can fly through walls, it tracks people, and is almost a guarantee hit as long as you throw it within the general area of somebody, right? And so yeah, maybe it's debatable that like 35 iron is a good price for it, but to me I think it could easily be 25 to 30 iron without really disrupting any much of the game too much, because later game when you have more iron, these aren't going to do too much anyways. They do like 4 damage to emerald and they do like 9 to diamond. It being cheaper, the biggest part they might affect is like diamond and iron armor fights. Outside of that though, right now, I mean, they're kind of too expensive to do that, and that's because our second con coming in here, notice 2, that is that it costs a lot of iron for these, which is also what's going to hurt you early game. Because these are mainly stronger early game, you want to buy them early game, which means you're going to be out upgrades if you're buying these. Like, you're not going to be getting your leather armor, you're not going to be getting your iron armor, which in return is going to make you weaker early game if you buy the spirits early game. But the spirits aren't that great later game, so, you know, it's kind of weird if that makes sense. That said, the third con on my list though feels weaker later game, which I think we already kind of went over. We talked about that these are kind of weak later game, they don't do a ton of damage, and we kind of seen that in our testing as well. So we can just move here into our 4th con, and that is placing these to guard feels kind of worthless. So like if you place these around something and you're just waiting for people to come over there, unless they're like directly on top of a bed, they're pretty avoidable. People are just not gonna walk right into these if they know what they are. Now, don't get me wrong, the kits are relatively new right now, and a lot of people just think these are ghosts and they're not sure what they are when they see them. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty avoidable, and they don't have that big of like a range where they lock on and chase people from. So unless they're like right on top of a bed, there's really no reason to place these and leave them somewhere, because one ghost typically, or spirit, I should say, one spirit typically isn't enough to actually really bother anybody. At most, it's going to hit them for 25 damage or 30-ish damage if you have sharpness and stuff and they don't have armor on. But it's not really going to guarantee to knock them off, and that's going to work us right into our 5th con, and that is that if they're on a bridge and it charges them like straight down the bridge, like the tracking just goes right down the bridge and they're like running away and it hits them in the back or something, I've noticed that it tends to blow them off, like up and then over. But if they're already walking in the straight line and the ghost or the spirit is hitting them in a straight line with that bridge, it typically just knocks them back onto the bridge. So that's pretty useless for 35 iron. For 35 iron, you want something, because I mean my arrows over here with my bows are 16 iron for 8 shots to knock somebody off, and a bow can hit you straight in the face and knock you sideways. So yeah, I don't know, the knockback on these can be a little wonky on bridges, which bothers me a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that's all the cons I got for this. If you guys got any more pros and cons, put them in the comments below. People will be sure to read them. I'll read them. Yeah, and it could help people out. On that note though, we are going to move into the portion where I debate if you should grind for this kit or not, because obviously it's a free kit, so it's not a buy, it's a grind. And on that, I'll see you guys over there. Now, I know as we settle on in here to the should you grind part of this video, someone in the comments is going to let me know it's a free kit and there's no reason not to grind for it. You could just already have it if you just played. 5 hours a day or something. I don't know. There's always somebody trying to say everything's worth it. And yeah, I mean, they're free kits, and if you have the time to play, it's worth it. But in reality, a lot of people don't want to spend as many hours as it's going to take to get rank 45. Rank 45 is a pretty hefty rank. I know we did just get the 20% XP boost with either joining the game group or verifying with Discord. However that whole system works, I don't really know. I made a video on it the way it was, and the game updated, and they made it where you could just join the group, I think. I don't know. Anyways, the battle pass, either way, takes a long time to level up. I would know. I grinded mine all the way to the Jade kit, and then grinded a few more levels after that so I could get Spirit Catcher without buying too many ranks. Now, I did buy ranks, obviously, like I said, but it's a really long grind. This is a really long grind, so I feel like this kit really needs to give us something special here. And it kind of does that. It kind of. I say kinda because spirits are something very unique. There's not really much like it. I mean, it's kind of like an explosive, but it doesn't break blocks. It can go through walls, which is something we don't really have. I don't think we really have any damage that can go through walls besides maybe a blast radius off of a TNT or fireball. But this actually goes through walls and hunts people down. Which also gives us kind of like an auto aim kind of mechanic in a sense. Like, you can't miss these. Like, if you get them in their general area, it's gonna hit. So it is a pretty unique kit. It's got some strengths to it. I'm just not sure if it's so overly outstanding that it's like, I need this right now because it's so good. It's a decent kit. It's decent, but I don't know if I would say it's good. I might play this kit a little bit, but to be honest, I think the best way to like really think about this kit is one of those support kits, a lot like Wizard. Now, we haven't heard Wizard in a while. I don't think a lot of people talk about Wizard. I don't think a lot of people are really playing Wizards. I see a Wizard once every like 20 games. But this is where this kit feels like it slides in as well. The Wizard's damage is pretty good at low level. This one's, well, early game. And this one's, the Spirit Catcher's damage is pretty good early game. Once later game comes, they both kind of fall off. But, you know, they both give that kind of like support damage, and you know, spirits can be kind of annoying when spammed, but you know, it's a lot of iron to get there. At least Wizard, you buy your stuff and you have it. So yeah, I guess in a sense I'm trying to say this is essentially like a semi-damage support kind of kit, like how I said with Wizard, if you ever watched that video. It kind of fits in there, but except think of this as the free version one, you know? One that you can obtain without doing anything. So should you grind for it? Of course, I mean, it's a free kit. I would say if you got the time, grind for this kit. It's always nice to have other options to play. Now, obviously, this whole video is like under the basis of we're trying to make sure the kit is good for you, not if the kit's fun. But it is always nice to have extra kits and fun kits to have when you're just messing around with friends or just chilling. So I would say grind for the kit if you can. Just know that it's not like the strongest kit out there. Although in 30v30s, it is pretty fun. You can spirit spam pretty well in 30v30. So I would say in 30v30, it might just possibly be worth your time to grind it. On that note though, yeah, I would say grind it. And on that note, guys, though, yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out. Psych, I'm not leaving just yet. I forgot to shout out the old members. You feel me? I have that as a perk as my members. No one's really a member anyways, but yeah. Anyways, thanks Mama Peace for being a member of the channel. Much appreciated. It helps out a lot. And on that note, I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.